Hello and welcome. It's the Curious Pigeon here, and today we're going to be taking a look at what is currently known as CBeebies land at Alton Towers. We won't be looking at the actual history of CBeebies land itself over the last 10 years, but we'll be looking at what the area was before that. So, I hope you enjoy. In 1989, a new area of the park opened known as Britannia Farm. It was sponsored by Britannia Building Society, and the area was opened to celebrate National Food and Farming Year. It was opened by the Duke of Edinburgh, and it was very much a typical British style attraction in terms of a farm park petting zoo type of a thing, because they had quite a few different farm and small animals that you could interact with. They even had red deer as well, which I thought was random, but also quite interesting. You could visit a milking parlour, and you could also go on the canal boat ride, which was built by Mac Rides. And the ride is still there today, but under a CBeebies theme of In the Night Garden, I believe. There were two shops, Animal Magic and the Windmill Souvenir Shop, which we will come back to later, and also Suchard's Coffee Shop for food and drink. Now, I may well be butchering that word, but it's spelled Suchards. If you know how to pronounce it, please let me know. In addition to these attractions, there was also a herb garden, a wishing well, and an area for crops. Now, the area for crops later became animal paddocks. In 1990, an exhibition of modern farming techniques opened. Now, it doesn't sound like the most interesting of exhibitions, but the name was incredible. It was called Farmarama. It even had a loaf corridor that you could walk through. Yes, it did look like a giant loaf, and you learnt about the production of flour inside. And there were also other giant pieces of bread that you could sit on, have your photo taken next to. In 1991, the pottery studio opened, having been moved from the gardens, and in 1992, the farm sponsor changed to Safeway. Yes, the supermarket, and yes, the area was renamed Safeway Farm, which doesn't have quite the same ring as Britannia. In this same year, the Education Centre opened, and in 1993, the farm's appearance was changed to look more traditional. Think less metal sheds and more wooden panelling. Sad news though, the Farmarama area closed, and the Education Centre moved into its location. After just 2 years, the Safeway sponsorship ended, and it was at this time that the area changed once again. It stayed as a farm but lost many animal enclosures and also the pottery studio, and the big change was Old Macdonalds Farmyard. From 1995 until 2013, this area was in place. This was a whole 18 years, which is a long time for an area to stay exactly the same. I'm not complaining though, because it was a lovely area, it worked, and it was popular. The boat ride was still there when it became Old Macdonald's, but it was rethemed as Riverbank I Spy, which I do remember going on myself. You got on your little boat, and there were some little buttons that corresponded to different animal noises on the front. And as you went round the boat ride, you would meet different animal figurines, and you had to press the right animal noise button to correspond with the animal that you saw. Other attractions that opened during these 18 years included the tractor ride and also the Doodle Doo Derby, which was a small carousel where you sat on little animals. Another attraction was the Ribena Berry Bish Bash, which involved collecting foam purple balls and putting them into various contraptions before they would be fired back out again, so you could try and launch them at your family and friends, basically. You could still interact with real small animals in the area. Another addition to the area in later years was known as the Dung Heap, and it was an adventure playground, and part of it really was themed to look like a giant pile of dung. Last but not least, there was another attraction in Old Macdonald's, which really was a firm favourite for a lot of people. It was the Singing Barn. You could press different buttons to make different animals, a scarecrow, and even a tractor with a smiley face sing. And if you timed it right, they could make quite an interesting choir of noise together. Interestingly, when the Singing Barn first opened, it was actually briefly sponsored by Safeway, who, if you remember, had sponsored the whole area a few years previous. Now, sadly, Old Macdonald's Farmyard closed at the end of the 2013 season, becoming CBeebies land the following year. However, in the most recent incarnation of the area, CBeebies, some attractions were rethemed rather than being removed. These include the boat ride, as I've already mentioned, the windmill shop, which became the CBeebies clock tower, and the Berry Bish Bash attraction, which became Justin's Pie-O-Matic factory. the route that the tractor ride took in Old Macdonalds is the same route that the Postman Pat ride takes today in its location, but the actual ride itself was removed rather than just being rethemed. So as you can see, we have got the aerial shots here of Old Macdonald's. You've just seen CBeebies land as well from above. And in this top corner, this is actually where you can meet Father Christmas. I'm just showing you over time, the trees have really grown and you've got the little cabins there as well. And it did used to be an animal paddock back in the day. We've got the Berry Bish Bash building there, and we've got the Riverbank I Spy. And this was the Dung Heap Adventure Playground with a few little areas in it there. And that did used to be just animal paddocks as well. So the area, again, had quite a few trees, but it just had a really nice traditional feel to it. And, you know, adults could go through as well and enjoy seeing the animals and enjoying seeing their children's reaction, interacting with them too. And it was just lovely. And here we have an aerial shot that it says is from the 80s. Now, if that's true, it was just a big blurry green square to us, but maybe it was just spare grassland, you know, not doing anything until the farmyard. I'd love to know what it was before then. Here we've got Streetview now, and you do have to go through, or you did have to go through the Storybook Land entrance to get to the farmyard, which I always thought was weird. You've got the tractor ride there and some workers and a little pond area as well. Now, the tractor ride had quite basic theming, but again, it worked. You know, you had hay bales, and you've got the Squirrel Nutty ride above there. As well as hay bales for theming for the tractor ride, you had literally old rundown tractors, milk churns, just things like that. But it looked realistic, it worked. You've got the Lost Persons Centre as it was here, with the lovely Ribena blackcurrant on there. Now, this used to be a shop, but in CBeebies land, it is just a clock tower. I feel like it might just be a decorational piece now. It might still be a lost person, I'm not too sure. We've got the sign, and there's the wishing well, where you could donate money to charity as well. Sorry, you only saw it briefly. And we've got Rolly. I think we saw Smokey at the beginning as well. But there you go. You've got a feeding trough and just random old tractors and just little bits. I wonder if they collected it all locally. There is a sign for Cannock, though, elsewhere in the area. So maybe they did. So up here we have got the entrance and the height sign to the tractor ride. And you've got some lovely thatched roof over there as well. And you've got the... You see the theming? Like, obviously it's made to look run down on purpose, but even if a bit of it was from wear and tear and not being up, you know, not with proper upkeep over the years, it works. And it just looks really nice. I'm not saying that CBeebies land isn't nice. I've not actually been around properly myself, but it certainly does have a charm to it. And some of the buildings that you have just seen on the right-hand side, I believe weren't used as a food area. They are now as Little Explorer's lunchbox, but back in the day, it was just storage area as Old Macdonald's. You've got the Doodle Doo Derby. This is where Santa is now, up here. But obviously it was, I believe, for the donkeys. You've got Ribena Berry Bish Bash to the side. You've got what I'm assuming may have been a little food cart or a photo cart or just some other merchandise. I quite look at them. They look quite cute out there. You've got a dovecot there. And here you go, furry friends. You've got here. And loads of old lanterns, wheels. Here we are. Here's the pond. Here's the little pigs. I love that. Just little touches like that are so cool. The dung heap is next. So let's go down here. And here you go. I mean, it looked okay. Just a bit odd, really. I don't know why there were sticks, like bits sticking out of it. I'm not too sure. There you go. There's a bug hotel and some bird feeders on the side. And there were some of the bunnies. Now, they even blurred out one of the bunnies for its privacy. So you could press the right button for that part of the riverbank I Spy. I mean, it's okay. They look fine. And this is as far as we can get around this area. So we had a zip wire there. Cannot remember for the life of me if I went around this bit or not, but obviously I do remember the boat ride. I really can't remember if I ever went on the playground. And here's some signage. So, thank you so much for watching. This was just one of my first videos, so I will be looking to hopefully improve some things in the future, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. We've all got to start somewhere, right? So, I've been the Curious Pigeon, and I will see you again soon.